Am I audible? Can we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Okay, today we discuss about measurement of inflation. So impact of inflation is done. Measurement of inflation. Measures to control inflation we have done. We have talked about various measures to control inflation. So then we have discussed about impact of inflation, positive impact, negative impact, all those things we have done. Now the measurement of inflation, how you measure. So here we will talk about wholesale price index, okay, CPI, WPI, PPI, all those things we'll discuss. So let's start with the first one, wholesale price index. Wholesale price index. Okay, just write one line over there. It shows rate of inflation in the economy. It shows the rate of inflation in the economy. Okay, so it basically shows the rate of inflation in the economy. That means it will not show the impact of inflation on people. Okay, so it will show only the inflation in the economy. That means that's why it is basically wholesale price index. So it will shows the inflation at the wholesale level. That means in the overall economy, not at the level of individual. So that will be reflected in CPI, consumer price index. So that in that the inflation or the impact of inflation will be seen at the individual level. So which one is better to form the monetary policy? Actually till 2014 WPI was actually used, but 2014 onwards after Urjit Patel committee it was shifted to CPI. So when I discuss about Urjit Patel committee, even though it was in 2014, I will discuss that, which is even now also it is very important. Many policies are actually based on the recommendation of that committee only. So here just understand, when we talk about inflation at the wholesale price index, when you measure, it shows the inflation in the economy. Okay, just write one line there. Till 2014 it was used for monetary policy formulation by RBI. Till 2014 it was used for monetary policy formulation by RBI. So RBI basically used WPI till 2014, and from 2014 shifted to CPI. CPI we will discuss next, consumer price index. Okay, so next line you can write, it is based on wholesale prices of selected commodities, wholesale prices of selected commodities from selected markets, selected commodities from selected markets. Okay, so it is impossible to take all the commodities, so we will take samples. Okay, so from different categories we will take the selected commodities from selected markets. So it does not takes into account prices of services. It does not takes into account the prices of services. Why? Any idea why it is not taking into consideration the services? Any idea? Shivangi?
So services are provided at individual level only? Not
Yeah, services, there is actually no wholesale market for service, right? So services are provided directly. It is sold and it is consumed directly by the between. For example, this is a service, so it is between people, directly given, directly consumed. So there is no wholesale market for services. So we cannot include services in the wholesale price index. That's the reason why it is not included. And that is also one of the drawback of wholesale price index. Okay, next point you can write, it is estimated or constructed by the Office of Economic Advisor, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It is estimated or constructed by the Office of Economic Advisor, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Ministry of Commerce and Industry. It is estimated at monthly intervals. Till 2009 it was weekly intervals, every week you measure, now monthly intervals. Okay, so it is estimated at monthly intervals. So the base year is actually shifted to 2011-12. So you can write the base year. So from May 2017, the base year is 2011-12. Before that, it was 2004-5. That we have already discussed when we discussed about national income in the first chapter. In case of GDP also, the current base year is 2011-12. Before it was based on 2004-5. Okay, so it is based on 697 commodities. You write one more line. It is based on 697 commodities. What you can do is you can make a table. Commodity group. Commodity groups, number of items in each group, number of items, weightage. Okay, that's enough. So one, primary articles, see, before it was 102 when it was calculated at the base year of 2004-5. Before it was 102, now actually increased to 170. So some new items are included, some of the items are excluded. Actually 199 new items were included. It was 676 before, now I have told you 697. So 199 new items are included and 146 items are actually excluded. Okay, so that is, these things are not important. You just need to know currently how many are there. Even number is not required, at least the weightage is enough. So 170 now. Second one, fuel and power. So before it was 19, now it is 16. Even if you are not writing what is before, it's okay. You just need to know the current one only. Nobody is going to ask you what is before. Manufactured items, third one. Manufactured items, the weightage is maximum here, more items are here. So 555 before, now 564. Okay, now total, if you see, total 697, before 676, now 697. Now the weightage, I will give you the new weightage, current weightage, that is 22.62. okay, and then this is 13.15, and this is around 64.23. You don't want to know exact these weightage, you just need to say like this is around 23%, so this is 13%, and this is 65%. So total 100%. So this is a weightage and the numbers. So just remember, ultimately how many items are there? 676. What is the base year? 2011-12. Okay, so what is the maximum? This is a maximum, 65%. Okay, so weightage means what? Weightage means the significance or the importance. To what extent it will, you know, the WPI will be affected by that particular item. Okay. So for example, this is the first case, the first one, the primary articles, the first one increased by 10%. Okay, and the last one, the third one also increased by 10%. So the first one increased by 10%, third one also increased by 10%. Which one will affect more on WPI?
So manufactured items.
So that is what it shows, the weightage. So that is how you can understand the weightage. Weightage is more there. So weightage basically shows the significance. Which one, the change in which one will affect more the WPI. So you can see here, change in this will affect more. You can see that through the weightage. 65% is from here. Okay. So that's about weightage. Now we will see calculation part. Any doubt here? So I've told you this is an index number. When we talk about WPI, WPI is actually an index number. In fact, when we discussed about national income, we have discussed about GDP deflator. There also I have talked about this. How will you write this? WPI colon, the base year 2004-5. In fact, now it is 2011-12, right? So 2011-12. And when you start, this is a base year, base value will be 100. So this is how you will write. Now let's suppose, let's say December 2019. Okay, December 2019, the value is, let's say, 182.16 or 182.6. I'm talking this, let's suppose this is the value. What does this mean? The items which cost 100 rupee in 2011-12, if you need to buy in 2019, you need to pay 182.6 rupee. That means what percentage inflation? 82.6% inflation. So this is how you can actually interpret WPI. So what you will see, you see the WPI value. What is the value? Let's say if I'm saying now 190 is the value, 90% inflation is there. Okay, that means the items which cost 100 rupee in the base year, if you need to buy now, you need to pay 190 rupee. So 90% actually value increased. Okay. So now what you can do is we can go for the estimation of inflation rate. Give a heading, estimation of inflation rate. Estimation of inflation rate. Estimation of inflation rate. Okay, so the first one, point to point method. Point to point method. So point to point method, you can write that the method inflation rate is equal to inflation rate. See, for example, if you are calculating this 2019 or 2020, let's say December 2019, if you need to calculate, okay? So December 2019, if you need to calculate, you need to get WPI December 2019. So first you will see WPI 2019 minus WPI December 2018, that is a previous year, divided by what will be the base? Previous year. So WPI 2018. So this is how you will calculate. So December 2018. Okay, so WPI you calculate this month, WPI you have to get the WPI of this month and divided by the base. Now if monthly also you can do. So if you are calculating inflation rate at this month, what is this month? This is July, right? So July 2020, what you need to do? July 2020, what you need to do is WPI July 2020 minus WPI July 2019 divided by WPI July 2019. That is what you need to do. Okay, so here it is connected to the previous year, exactly the same month you need to take. So for example, let's say this value is 182.6 and this value, let's say 176.6, okay, and divided by 176.6, right, multiplied by 100. This, if you need to get in percentage, multiply by 100, what you get? 3.4. So this is actually the inflation in December 2019. Now what you can do is you can see what is the inflation directly. This percentage you can see from the news, but how you get that? If you are getting, let's say 5.4 or something, whatever the inflation that you are getting for this particular month, July, how you are getting that? July this month WPI and July last month WPI divided by July last month WPI, you will get that percentage. So this is how you actually got it. Okay, clear?
Sir, is there any previous month comparison? Like
no, here see, in rate, when you are calculating, you are taking the last year's rate, comparison between previous year. But you can calculate this every month. Like here I am talking about December, I can calculate on November also in the same way. In that context, this will become November, this will become November, this will become November, this will become November. That's it. But 2019, 2018. 2020 means 2019. 2021 means 2020. Will be the base year, because in the bottom you need the base value, no?
Okay. So it should always be year on year.
Year on year, it will be calculated. Last year July to this year July. Last year March to this year March.
Okay, sir.
So this is how it is calculated. Inflation rate, WPI this month. If you need to calculate the inflation rate in this month, WPI this month you will calculate. So I've told you now how much it is reached. Let's say 190 it is reached. So this is a WPI value this month. So last year this month what was the value that you will calculate? So minus one, let's say 170. Okay, and then divided by 170. This is what you will do. So you will get this 20 by 170 or 2 by 17 and into 100 multiple by 100 you will get that value. Okay. So that is the point to point method. Now second one you write 52-week average inflation. 52-week average inflation. Second one. 52-week average inflation. So just write one line there. It is the average of point to point inflation. It is the average of point to point inflation. It is the average of point to point inflation over the previous 52 weeks / 12 months. Over the previous 52 weeks / 12 months. So what you do here, what you'll do is you'll find the 12-month point to point. 12 month you will find point to point. Which method? The previous method, right? This is a point to point method. So here this is inflation 2019, December 2019. So similarly what you'll do, Jan 2019, Feb 2019, March, April, May up to December, you will get all this 12 months. Okay, and you add everything. That is what you mean by this one. 12-month point to point divided by what you will do, 12. So you'll take the average. That's what 52-week average inflation. So 12-month point to point you calculate Jan, Feb, March individually by using the previous method. So how to calculate Jan inflation, WPI Jan 2020? What you will do? Inflation rate, if you need to calculate inflation rate on June 2020. Suppose June 2020. Inflation rate you need to calculate. So WPI June 2020 minus WPI June 2019 divided by WPI June 2019. Like that you can calculate June 2020, then July 2020. Similarly, all the 12 months, add everything, divide by 12, that is the average. Okay?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, if I have to calculate the 52-week average as on date, so I have to take data from June 2020 and going backward till July 2019.
Yes.
The point.
No, basically this is per year it is calculated. No, so actually you have to go till December. So Jan to December is what you need to take.
Okay.
Normally,
Okay.
Jan to December. But still, if you need to calculate this July to last July, then that is also 52-week period. You can do that, no problem.
Okay, sir.
But generally, this year, let's say Jan to December is what generally taken. And see, for measurement of inflation, normally point to point is used. This is basically to this is for the analysis part. This 52-week average is actually taken for the analysis part. Okay.
So the year is normally Jan to December or the normal financial year?
Jan to December.
Jan to December. Okay.
But again, 52-week average when we talk about, you can take from this July to last July 52-week average also you can take. Like as Ashwin said, any 52-week average you can take. Okay. So this is done now. Okay, one point which I have missed out is here. Here you can write weightage within this only. Out of this 100%, within this you can write somewhere here weightage of food item in WPI 25%, 24.3%, or you can approximately write it as 25%. So 25% is the food items. it is divided in this primary and manufactured. Among these two, 25% will come in total. So next one, consumer price index. Consumer price index, CPI. Okay, so it is measuring the inflation from the consumer point of view. Okay, so it shows the impact of inflation on the people. When we discussed about WPI, I have told you it shows the impact of inflation on the economy, but here it measures impact of inflation on the people. So you can just write one line, it shows the impact of inflation on people. It shows the impact of inflation on people. It shows the change in cost of living. It shows the change in cost of living. It shows the change in cost of living. It is used for grant of dearness allowance. It is used for grant of dearness allowance, DA. And I've told you already, since 2014 onwards, this is basically used to form the monetary policy by the RBI. Till 2014 it was WPI. Since 2014, you can write, since 2014 it is being used for monetary policy formulation by RBI. Since 2014 it is being used for monetary policy formulation by RBI. It is based on retail prices of selected goods and services. It is based on retail prices of selected goods and services. It is based on retail prices of selected goods and services. It was estimated in monthly intervals. Same we have discussed in case of WPA also, monthly intervals. It is estimated for the four group of consumers. It is estimated for the four group of consumers. A, consumer price index for industrial workers. Consumer price index for industrial workers. In bracket you can write the CPI-IW. Consumer price index for industrial workers. Okay. B, consumer price index for urban non-manual employees. So CPI urban non-manual employees. So urban non-manual employees, that you can write in the bracket, CPI UNME. So consumer price index for industrial workers, consumer price index for urban non-manual employee. C, consumer price index for agricultural laborers. So CPI AL, consumer price index for agricultural laborers. D, CPI for rural laborers. So consumer price index for rural laborers. So you can write off these four in brackets: CPI IW, CPI UNME, CPI agricultural labor, that is AL, CPI RL. Okay, so the base year for CPI is 2001. Base year 2001, and maximum weightage is actually given to food items. So food item is having close to 50%, approximately close to 50%. So if you go for the accurate, it is around 46%. So 46% is the food item. Then other items like clothing, pan, supari, gutka, all these items will come. Rent, all these are included in this. Okay. So why weightage for food is given more, 46%? Because that will have more impact, no? That is having more importance. That will affect the CPI or people more than, pan, supari, gutka, etc. So for example, this food items increase by 10% and gutka price increase by 10%, which affect the people more? Food, right? So that is why food is given more weightage, 46. Base year is 2001. Why? I don't know. Just like that. Base year is 2001. Estimated. Okay, let me check once again. Yeah, base year is 2001. Again, you can see it is again an index number. So how will you write CPI? For example, if I am talking about industrial workers, CPI IW colon 2001 equal to 100. So you always start with the base year and base value. Okay. Now if I am saying the values, let's say 195. So in 2019, the value of CPI is 195. How will you interpret this?
So 95%.
95% inflation is there. Okay. So 95% inflation is there in 2017 or 2019. So the value changed to 195. So 95% inflation is there. So it is based on retail price. Earlier it was based on wholesale price. So it is based on consumer side. Earlier it was based on the wholesale, the economy side. Now who estimate this? It is the Labor Bureau, right? That it is estimated by Labor Bureau under Ministry of Labor and Employment. It is estimated by Labor Bureau under Ministry of Labor and Employment. Okay, now as of now we have talked about CPI and WPI. So you already understood in WPI food items weightage is around 25%. So here CPI food items weightage is around 46%. So food item more weightage is in CPI, right? So that is the reason why CPI, if you see 2012 to 2016 period, CPI was always higher than WPI. Why? Because there was a food inflation. So the CPI was always going higher than WPI because of food inflation, and food contribution is more in WPI. So food inflation is there means it is directly going to affect CPI more than WPI. Okay, so now the food inflation is actually coming down, so CPI is almost close to WPI. Secondly, now WPI is coming down. WPI is coming down because the reason, as you can see here, the contribution of fuel and power is more in WPI. That is not there in CPI. So that is the reason why you can see WPI is coming down. Now these two are almost equal. Okay. Is that clear? This was higher before. So in case if CPI goes higher, the only indication that you can draw from that is actually there is a food inflation, because more weightage is actually given to the food. So next, under this, you can write CPI UNME, CPI UNME 1984-85 base year, 1984-85. This one we have discussed is CPI IW. First one that we have discussed is IW. So please give the heading over there when we discussed about that 46% etc. That is CPI IW. The base year is 2001. Here CPI UNME 1984-85, then CPI AL agriculture labor 86-87, 1986-87, CPI rural labor, that is also 86-87. And which one is used for by the states to revise the minimum wages? These two are actually used by the state government to revise. So this two, agricultural labor and rural labor, is actually used by the state government to revise the minimum wages. Okay. Now in 2014, three more the CPI was introduced. Okay, so one is, you can write there in 2011, not in 2014. 2014 also three more is coming. So in 2011, first you write 2011. So already we discussed about four. That is CPI industrial worker, CPI UNME, CPI AL, CPI RL, okay, rural labor. Now write three more. In 2011, the Central Statistical Office, CSO, introduced three new CPIs. In 2011, the CSO, Central Statistical Office, introduced three new CPIs. One, CPI Urban, 2. CPI rural. 3. CPI combined. CPI urban, CPI rural, CPI combined. So, and this was actually asked in mains 2012. It was introduced in 2011, so mains 2012, this was actually a question. And the base year of all the three is actually 2012. You can write the base year 2012. So how will you write this? For example, CPI urban. So CPI urban colon the base year 2012 equal to 100. So this is how you'll write. And if I'm saying the value is 170 now, it indicates 70% inflation, like that. Now write one line over there. Selection of items and their weightage. Selection of items and their weightage are fixed on the basis of consumption expenditure data of 68th round of NSSO. 68th round in 2011-12. Okay, so selection of items and their weightage are fixed on the basis of consumption expenditure data of 68th round, that means 2011-12 of NSSO. I have told you already, NSSO conducts survey every year. Every survey is called as rounds. Every 5 years they conduct a major survey. So 68 round means actually 68 surveys have been conducted. So 2011-12 it was the 68, then 69 in 2012-13, 70 in 2013-14, like that. Every year there will be a survey. Okay. Now in 2014 3 more introduced, so that also you can write there. In 2014 the CSO introduced 3 new retail food inflation indices. 3 new retail food inflation indices. So this is related to specific to food inflation indices. Okay, so from the consumer side, food inflation. So you can write there, so actually consumer food price index, CFPI. Consumer price index, in that you can see food is added. So CFPI, you write there consumer food price index. So here also the first one CFPI, you write completely CFPI urban, CFPI urban, or in bracket you can write, then CFPI rural, CFPI rural, and third one CFPI combined. Okay, so how many CPIs we discussed now so far?
10, sir.
10. So we discussed about CPI. Okay, so we started off with CPI IW, then CPI UNME, then CPI RL, then CPI AL, and then we discussed about CPI urban, CPI rural, and CPI combined, and then these three. Okay, so these three are actually introduced in 2011. These three are actually introduced in 2014. These are related to food, so F is added to this. Here there is no F, here is added F, both by CSO. Now for this also base year is 2012. Base year 2012. So for this also base year 2012. Now here it varies. I have told you this is 2001 and this is before. Okay, so this one was 84, 85, then this one is 86, 87, this also 86, 87. Now next you write service price index. Service price index. So consumer price index is done, 10 index are there, WPI wholesale price index is done. Now related to service. Okay, so write one line. It is constructed for selected services like civil aviation, financial services, etc. civil aviation, banking, okay, like financial services, etc. Not for all the services, selected services. So currently for some sectors only, okay. SPI, in bracket you can write SPI, Service Price Index. Next you write Producers Price Index. Producers Price Index. So here you will get from the perspective of the producer, and WPI you will get it from the wholesaler point of view. CPI you will get it from the retailer point of view, right? So retailer, producer, wholesale. So if you see CPI, we have said that retailer or the people point of view. WPI, that is at the economy level, that means the wholesaler level. Wholesaler, so this is PPI, it is the producer's point of view. Now this is actually again useful for the government, because government can actually understand at which stage the price is increasing, whether is it in the cost of production or at this stage or at this stage. So government can actually understand in which stage the price is increasing and can take the measures accordingly. So we have discussed about 4 different types. So WPI, CPI, SPI, PPI. These 2 are more important. Okay, so you can expect questions from here, and these 2 are not that important, so we don't want to discuss too much about that. Now, there was a question before related to base effect. So you can give a heading, base effect. Any idea what is base effect?
So is it that when the base year is unstable, like relatively higher inflation, or
Yeah, there was a negative inflation in 2015, etc. The 2015 time there was a negative inflation. Actually, inflation is there, but it was a statistical error. When you are calculating, you get negative inflation, but still inflation is there in the economy. I'll show you with example. So let's talk about the prices of onion, which is more volatile. So I take this example. Okay. So let's say in 2000, what do you think the price of onion? Let's take it as, let's say 15 rupee. Okay. Let's say 15 rupee. In 2014, it might have increased, and on an average, if you see, it might be around 30 rupee. I'm taking some random values, okay? And 2015, what happened is it skyrocketed, and recently also in 2019, you can say exactly this. Okay, 2019, you can write it went to 100 rupee. Okay, it went to 100 rupee. And 2016, it slightly came down to 90 rupee. Okay, now if you calculate the price change here, if you calculate inflation here, what will happen? 10 to 90, 100 to 90, there is a negative inflation. This is minus 10%, right? If you calculate the percentage change, it is actually negative inflation. But you can see here, 2014 the price is 330, and you can see here how much inflation is there. I've told you how to calculate percentage faster here. Can you tell me what is the factor of multiplication here? 3 to 90.
200%.
3 is the factor of multiplication. 3 minus 1, 2. Add 2 zeros, 200. Actually, from here to here, if you see, 200% increase is there. But why are you getting this 10%? It is because the base value is less. No, the high value, the high base value. Now you are actually comparing with this 100. Actually, you should be comparing it with this. No. So this is actually a statistical error. But as per theory, when you are calculating, your base should be the previous year. So when you are calculating on the basis of point to point method, this year, this month, this value, last year, this time, this value. So you have to calculate like this, and you are getting minus 10. But still inflation is there. You need to compare. You can compare here. It's around 200% high value, but still calculation will tell you this. Okay. So this is what you mean by base effect. So you can write one line over there. It refers to distortion in growth of a variable. It refers to distortion in growth of a variable due to its extreme value due to its extreme value during the corresponding period of previous year.
Or due to
due to its extreme value during the corresponding period of previous year. That means this 100 is the extreme value, no? So corresponding due to its extreme value during the corresponding period of previous year. So if this is July 2020, 90 rupee, last year July it was 100. That is the reason why you are getting this mistake, the statistical error. Actually, if you calculate from here, it is so high. Inflation is there, the price has changed drastically, but still because of the extreme value in that particular month, maybe this price might have came down in next month or the previous month. If you calculate, it might be 40 only. Okay, so it might be 40, or in the next month it may be 50 only. But because of that particular period, that particular year, it was so extreme value, so when you are calculating, you are getting this minus 10. But that doesn't show the actual picture. Okay, one more example I'll give you. Let's suppose the production of wheat. Let's take about the production. It can happen in production also. So when you talk about production of wheat, let's take it in million ton. So let's say in 2000, do you know what is the production of wheat now? Or let's take 80 million ton in 2000. Okay, so it might have increased to, let's say, 95 million ton in 2014. But you know, there was a drought in 2015. So because of that drought, what happened? It came down to 50. And next year it is increased, and it is increased to 60. So what you can see here, if you calculate 50 to 60, what is the increase? 50 into 1.2 is 60. So 1.2 means 0.2 is 20%, right? So you can see 20% increase in production. Now you know one thing, 20% increase in production will never ever come in agriculture. How much we are targeting in agriculture? Increase in production. We are calculating and we are targeting 4% only. So here you can see 20% increase in production. Why this 20% is happening actually? It is because of the extreme low value here. And even then, if you compare it with the previous value 95, still it is low only. There is no increase. But still you are showing 20% itself is very high. You can never get 20% increase in production in agriculture. You got the point?
yes, sir.
Yeah, that is actually happening because of base effect. And this was actually a prelims question before. In 2016, it was a prelims question. So, because this value is normal value, but this value is an extreme value. Because of this only, you are getting, even though actually, if you see, 60 is also very less. 2014, it was 95. And 2016 it is 60, means it is less. But still, this is a statistical error because of the extreme value in the previous year corresponding period. Same period, previous year, it is less. So less. So now you are getting so high value. But this will not reflect the actual picture. That is base effect. Okay, yeah. Next is related terms that we will do tomorrow. Any doubts?
So shall we do this PMI,
Which one?
Purchasing Manager Index or something?
That I don't know about that. I'll check that.
Yes.
Anything else?
And sir, 8 core sectors.
8 core sector.
8 core sectors, something is there, no?
Regarding?
That index only regarding that. IIP index.
No,
Index of industry.
actually I need to check that. I have to update some current affairs. That we will do towards the end.
Okay, sir.
I'm just considering the static part now. So once we complete the static part, I'll update the current affair. Even I also have to update the current affair.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. WPI to CPI we shift because WPI is showing inflation or the impact of inflation from the economic side, the market side, the wholesaler side. But impact on people is important. So RBI or Urjit Patel actually that committee explained or suggested that if you are making monetary policy, it should be based on the impact on people. You should consider the the purchasing power of the people and the well-being of the people. So for that matter, you have to consider the CPI based inflation. So that is why CPI based inflation is considered while formulating the monetary policy, because that shows the inflation impact of inflation on the people. Yes, tell me. Global level CPI. So that is also said it is a world practice. It is an international best practice. So we also move towards that. Like what we have discussed in case of GDP at market price. Like that.
Sir, in which year it's
Pardon, I didn't get you. Which year?
Sir, in which year it's
Sorry, I didn't get you. I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, CPI and WPI, when it started, in which year?
Which index started?
CPI and
Which year it's... Which year it started, I don't know. I don't know exactly. I will check it and tell you tomorrow. Or you can just Google it. I don't remember exactly which year it started.
Sir, the important point regarding my question is, it came in the mind of rule framers in 2014 that this is concentrated on the CPI and not the WPI.
I'm not able to hear you. Some problem with the internet. My side, I think. Is my voice is clear to all of you?
Yes, sir, yes, the voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then repeat once again. Please tell me.
Sir, I'm asking that in the year of 2014,
Yes.
in the mind of rule framers, it came point that we should concentrate on the consumer side, not on the wholesale price side.
Yes.
Yeah, the earlier rule framers were not thinking about that.
No. Yeah. Earlier it was like WPI, just like that. It shows impact on overall economy. So we have taken like that. That even when we discussed about GDP also, I've told you GDP at factor cost is what we have taken till 2014, and then it was shifted to GDP at market price because it is an international best practice, etc. Same was the case here also. WPI was taken till 2014, but after it is especially after Urjit Patel the committee, we shifted to CPI because this shows the impact of inflation on the public, and RBI should focus on the policy based on the impact on the public. That is the idea. I don't know which year this even till now nobody asked me about this, so I didn't.
No issues. Actually, I was thinking now.
Yeah.
Earlier, the rule framers was not concentrating on the CPI.
Because overall economy was considered earlier.
Yeah, but till 2014,
Yes.
overall economy was considered.
Yes.
Now, after 2014, the public was get focused.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, can we stop here?
Okay.
Tomorrow we will continue.